Biology Season 1, Paper 8, Discussion, Part A. Question number 1, A, Roman number 1. What is catabolism? Right, catabolism is breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecules by releasing free energy. Okay, that is the answer. Catabolism is breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecules by releasing energy. Right, energy එකක් release කරලා ලොකු ඒවා පොඩි molecules වලට කඩන එක තමයි අපි catabolism කියලා කියන්නේ. Right, now let's go through this figure. පේනවද ඒක? Can you see a slide metabolism? A figure regarding like metabolism? Yes, Vidushini, Shavinda, Mokshi. Can you see that figure? Right, now metabolism. Metabolism is the sum of all biochemical reactions of living beings. Right, this include anabolism and catabolism. Right, now I am revising metabolism part, so you can include those things in your review. Right, while you are marking your answer sheet, you can make a review, or after the class you can make a review. Right, you can write a review. Right, so metabolism, what is metabolism? Sum of all biochemical reactions of living beings. Metabolism means it includes both anabolism and catabolism. Right? Now look at this figure, second one, catabolism reaction. You can see there's a large molecule and it break down into small molecules while releasing energy. So that is catabolism, right? Breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecules by releasing free energy. Then anabolic reaction, right? You can see smaller molecules and energy, right? Anabolism is making a complex molecule from simple molecules. Simple molecules, they get together and form a large molecule, complex molecule by absorbing free energy. That is anabolism. So what are examples for catabolism? The best example is cellular respiration. During cellular respiration, glucose molecule, right? It's a large molecule. Within the cell, it break down into carbon dioxide, water, and it release energy in the form of ATP, right? Example for anabolic reaction, photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide and water, they get together and produce glucose by absorbing energy from sunlight. Okay, right. So for the part A, the answer should be catabolism is breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecules by releasing free energy. Give 1 mark. Then part B, they are asking, give an example for catabolism. What is the example? You can write cellular respiration. Cellular respiration, 1 mark. Roman number 2, what is mean by growth? Now, I took this question from unit 1, right? Introduction to biology. So there they have given an irreversible increase in dry mass occurs, which is characterized only by the living cells, right? Irreversible increase in dry mass, which is characterized only by the living cells. 2 marks. Right? Give 2 marks. Then Roman number 3. Roman number 3. Give the main organic compounds of below mentioned A, B, C structures. Right. A, what is A? That is glycerol molecule, right? Glycerol කොහෙද තිබ්බේ? In lipids, right? One glycerol molecule binds with 3 fatty acids and from triacyl glycerol. This is a form of lipid, right? So here, what is the main organic compound? A, it should be lipids. Then, second one, it is something like this, ne? There's an amino group, right? Then there's a carboxylic group, and then side chain, and a hydrogen atom bonded to a carbon atom. So it is an amino acid. So amino acids, they get together and form proteins, right? Proteins are polymers of the monomer amino acid. What is the bond? Peptide bond, right? Peptide bond exists among amino acids. So B should be proteins. And C structure, it shows a nucleotide, right? Nucleotide. There's a nitrogenous base, phosphate group, right? This is a phosphate group and a pentose sugar group. These nucleotides, they join by phosphodiester bonds and form this polymer, right? Nucleic acid. So C should be nucleic acid, right? Nucleic acid. Yes, Shavinda, what is the question? What about substrate phosphorylation for B? Right, now here they are asking catabolism reaction, right? It means releasing free energy, yes. Substrate phosphorylation. Substrate phosphorylation means synthesis of ATP using energy released by breaking down of complex molecules into simple ions, but now it's a method. Here they are asking an example. තේරුණාද? Example එකක් අහන්නේ. Give an example for catabolism. No, Vidushini. Because they are asking the main organic molecule. So you can't write the names, right? Give main organic compounds of below mentioned ABC structures. Main organic compound එක අහන්නේ. තේරුණාද? And substrate phosphorylation. Give an example for catabolism. No, Shavinda, don't take that one because here they are asking an example and substrate phosphorylation is just a method of production of ATP. Okay? Okay? Right. State the bonds in above organic compound. So A, it's a lipid, so it contains ester bonds. Right? Ester bonds. 1 mark. Then B, it's a protein. The main bond type is peptide. Other than that, there are hydrogen bonds and disulfide bonds, ionic bonds. Those are also accepted. C, nucleic acid phosphodiester bonds. Right? 3 marks, 1 for each. Then which is not considered as a macromolecule in above biomolecules? Lipids. Right? Lipids. Why is it not considered as a biomolecule? Why is that? Now, normally, now this is a biomolecule. It's not considered as a macromolecule. What is a macromolecule? Macromolecule means they have molecular mass ranging from 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 10 daltons. And they are polymers made up of large number of repeating units called monomers. Those are the two features of macromolecules, right? When we come to lipids, it is a large biological molecule, but it is not considered as a polymer or a macromolecule. So here the answer should be lipid, right? Lipids, 1 mark. A. එහෙම නැත්නම් lipids. No, the answer should be A. A කියලා තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Which is not considered as a macromolecule in above biomolecules. A hari lipids hari දීලා තිබ්බොත් ලකුණු හම්බ වෙනවා. 1 mark. Then briefly explain an experiment in laboratory to identify the biomolecule in A. Right. So we can carry out Sudan 3 test to identify lipids. Right. So first you have to write Sudan 3 test. Then we have to explain the experimental procedure here. First, we have to add 2 milliliter of oil into a test tube, oil or food solution. Right? Sample kaliwat hari. Add 2 milliliter of oil into a test tube. Then second step, add equal volume of water into the same test tube. Third step, add few drops of Sudan 3 and shake well. Right? Then observation, a red stained oil layer separates on the surface of water and water remains uncolored. Right? So 5 marks. Add 2 milliliter of oil into a test tube. Then add equal volume of water into the same test tube. Next, add few drops of Sudan 3 and shake well. Next, a red stained oil layer separates on the surface of water and water remains uncolored. 5 marks. Next one, it is regarding cell junctions. Part B, Roman number 1. So there are, the first question is, what is cell junction? Yes, what are cell junctions? Cell junction means the structures at which cytoplasm of adjoining cells are joined. Structures at which cytoplasm of adjoining cells are joined. 1 mark. Right? Then they are asking, state the cell junctions in animal cell. Animal cell එකක තියෙන cell junctions මොනවද? Tight junction. Then here in the figure you can see the first figure, it shows tight junction. Then desmosomes or anchor junction, third figure, desmosome or anchor junction. Second one, it shows gap junction or communicating junction. Wait, cytoplasm. There is a small difference in new syllabus and the old syllabus. Let me check in the new resource book. Okay, Vidushini. Now in that book they have given බලන්න ඔයගලන්ට පේනව නේද ඒක? පේනව නේද? New resource book එක පේනවනේ. බලන්න මේක දීලා තියෙන්නේ cell junctions. Neighboring cells join, interact and communicate via sites of direct physical contact. Cell junctions are structures at which cytoplasm of adjoining cells are joined. Right? In old one, right? අපි පාඩම් කරපු එකේ නම් දීලා තිබ්බේ cell junctions are structures at which neighboring plasma membranes are joined. But in this one, ඒගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙනවා දැන් මේකත් අපේ book එකේ දීලා තිබ්බා මේ second point එකත්. Right? But anyway, they have eliminated, they have removed that plasma membrane thing. Okay. Okay, Vidushini. Others? So it should mean cell junctions are structures with cytoplasm of adjoining cells are joined. Others? Shavinda, Mokshi, and Vinod. Any doubts? Hari, eka hadaganna. So there, the answer should be structures at which cytoplasm of adjoining cells are joined. Alright. Then state the cell junctions in animal cells: tight junction, gap junction, anchor junction. 3 marks. Then third one, give a function of each of above cellular junction. Right? Let's take tight junction. Function is, normally they are found in skin epithelium. They connect plasma membrane of adjacent cells tightly bound by specific protein. And they prevent leakage of extracellular fluid through intercellular spaces. So the function, the answer should be prevent leakage of extracellular fluid through intracellular spaces. 1 mark. Anchor junction or desmosome, example present in muscle tissue. Function is mechanically attach cytoskeleton of adjoining cells for strong binding. Mechanically attach cytoskeleton of adjoining cells for strong binding. Next one, gap junction. Allows signal and material exchange between adjacent cells through direct connection. Allow signal and material exchange between adjacent cells through direct connection. Right? 1 for each correct answer. Altogether 3 marks. Roman number 4, write 3 types of cellular components in the cytoskeleton and state a function of each. Right? Now, here they're asking about microtubules, microfilaments, and intermediate filaments. In the old resource book, we had to study the functions of each component, but in your book, they have removed those functions. Right? එතකොට මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මට එක අමතක වුණා. ඒක මේ function එක ලියන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Microtubules, microfilaments, intermediate filaments. So, ටික තමයි answers. Right? Give 3 marks. Microtubules, microfilaments, intermediate filaments. Then next one, what is meant by an enzyme? Enzyme is a macromolecule which acts as a biological catalyst and produced in living cells. Macromolecule which acts as a biological catalyst and produced in living cells. 2 marks. Next one, write 2 factors that affect the rate of enzymatic reaction: pH, temperature, substrate concentration, inhibitors. Right? 2 marks. Roman number 2, state the enzymes and their functionality functionary cells that catalyze the carbon fixation in C4 plants. Cell එක ඒගොල්ලෝ ඉන්නේ කොහෙද කියලා අහන්නේ. එහෙනම් pep carboxylase. පළවෙනි එක නා pep carboxylase කොහෙද ඉන්නේ? In the mesophyll cells. And Rubisco in bundle sheath cells, you know, in the C4 plants, they have something called Kranz anatomy. Right? Some modification. Their vascular bundle is first covered by bundle sheath, and bundle sheath layer is covered by mesophyll cells. So pep carboxylase present in mesophyll cells and Rubisco present in bundle sheath cells. 4 marks. When increase the concentration of O2 in leaf mesosphere cell, how it affects the rate of photosynthesis of C3 plants? You know, Rubisco, right? Rubisco, it is capable of catalyzing both oxygenase reaction as well as carboxylase reaction, right? When the carbon dioxide concentration increases, what will happen? Right now, so oxygen and carbon dioxide, they are competitive, right? Because this Rubisco can catalyze both reaction by using RUBP as the substrate. So when the oxygen concentration increases, right, Rubisco catalyzes oxygenase reaction and it inhibits carboxylase reaction, right? This is called photorespiration. When oxygen binds with Rubisco, when Rubisco catalyzes oxygenase reaction, it is called photorespiration. As a result of photorespiration, it forms one molecule of 3-PGAN, 2-carbon product. This 2-carbon product is toxic to the plants. Okay, so you have to explain that. When oxygen concentration increases, Rubisco catalyzes oxygenase reaction and carboxylase reaction inhibits. Right? Photorespiration happens and forms one molecule of 3-PGA and 2-carbon product. 2-carbon product. Okay? ඊට පස්සේ දැන් අපි තව include කරමු. And leads to a net loss of carbon dioxide. And leads to a net loss of carbon dioxide. 5 marks. Then Roman number 4. PEP carboxylase enzyme is much more efficient than the enzyme of RUBP carboxylase enzyme. Give 2 reasons for that. Now here also there's a change. There is only one reason given in your book. Very good, Vidushini. Your answer is correct. Oxygen react with RUBP using Rubisco enzyme and perform photorespiration. Due to this, photosynthesis become 50% less efficient and reduce its rate. Right? You can mention about oxygenase and those 2 words, oxygenase and carboxylase. You can include carboxylase reaction inhibits. Right? Here for the Roman number 4, there is only one reason, that is, it has no affinity for O2. It has no affinity for O2. Oxygen, 2 marks. Harida, shall we move to next one? Right. Question number 2, part A, Roman number 1. Write 5 incidents that favor the synthesis of organic molecules essential for the origin of life with the Earth's reducing atmosphere. Volcanic eruptions, lightning, extreme UV radiation, hydrothermal vents, alkaline vents. 5 marks. Okay. Then, some biological phenomena are given below. Write their ages in billion years ago. Earth and other planets of the solar system were formed 4.6 billion years ago. Life on early Earth 3.5 billion years ago. Origin of the first photosynthetic organism 2.7 billion years ago. Age of fossils of the oldest protista 1.2 billion years ago. 0.8. Okay. 4.6, 3.5, 2.7, 1.2. 4 marks. Roman number 3, state the eon and era of the first seed plant appeared. So, what is the eon? There are 4 eons. Hadean, Archean, Proterozoic, Phanerozoic. Right? And eon Phanerozoic is divided into 3 eras. Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic. So, first seed plants appeared in Paleozoic era of Phanerozoic eon. So, eon is Phanerozoic, era Paleozoic era. 2 marks, 1 for each. The first colonized animal phylum on land is Arthropoda, right? Mainly insects and spiders, right? Arthropoda. They ask in the phylum, so answer should be Arthropoda. Arthropods, no marks. Arthropoda, 1 mark. Roman number 5, what is protocell? මාක්ස් දාගන්න මට එතකොට ලකුණු වහගන්න පුළුවන් ස්ට්‍රක්චර්ඩ් එසේ එකේ කට්ටිය මාක්ස් දාගන්න RNA accumulated into lipid bound vesicles and formed protocells which exhibited enzyme catalyzed activities and able to grow, replicate and evolve. RNA accumulated into lipid-bound vesicles, which exhibit enzyme-catalyzed activities and able to grow, replicate, and evolve. Is it given, Shavinder? Let me check. No, I don't have. Yeah, I have that, but. අන්තිමටම දීලා තිබ්බ නේද ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ පොතේ ලිව්වේ නැද්ද උත්තර ඉතින් ලිව්වේ නැද්ද එක්කෙනෙක්වත් enzyme catalyzed reaction no Vidushini. No, you have to include that because here they are asking a definition. Okay, and only 1 mark is allocated for this one. Vidushini, didn't you answer these ages? ඒකට උත්තර ලිව්වේ නැද්ද? එයා ලියලා. Right, I took that part from a Royal College paper because that question is good. Anyway, we'll see Shavinder, right? ඒ උත්තර ටික ලියාගෙන තියාගන්න. So, yeah. Here, 1 mark. Then part B, Roman number 1. Though the kingdom Plantae evolved from chlorophyte, they lack key traits of land plants. State those traits. Then මෙහෙම question එකක් දුන්නාම they haven't specified whether they need 1 feature, 2, 3 or 4. So what you have to do is you have to write all those traits, all those features. Right? Yes. There are 4. Walled spores produced in sporangia, multicellular gametangia, dependent embryo, and apical meristem. 4 marks. Roman number 2, write two major groups of vascular plants, seedless vascular plants and seed plants, seed vascular plants. 2 marks. Then here I have made a small mistake. I forgot to italics these words, right? There are some scientific words here anyway. Some of the organisms are given below. Write the correct letter of suitable organism. Correct letter. Right? එහෙනම් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. Correct letter එක ලියන්න ඕනි. නම ලියලා තිබ්බොත් no marks. You are not getting marks if you have written the name. You have to write down the letter here. Let's see. Macroscopic green color multicellular thallus differentiated to leaf-like blades and root-like hold fast. Ulva. D. Ulva. In kingdom plant A, gametophyte is dominant stage of the life cycle Pogonata. F. Bisexual gametophyte is present in bisexual එකක් තියෙනවා කාගේද? මෙයාගේ Nephrolepis. Right? Nephrolepis. Yes. Heart-shaped one. Can you remember it? Heart එකක් වගේ තියෙනවා. Right? Yeah, මතකද? මෙතන bisexual කියන එකම තමයි monoecious කියන්නේ. Right? In the ventral side, both antheridia and archegonia are produced, right? Heart-shaped, macroscopic, green-colored, photosynthetic thallus. It's found in Nephrolepis. Nephrolepis. Then pollen grains with 3 opening, it is a feature of, before that D, gymnosperm which has xylem vessels. Neatum J. Then E, pollen grains with 3 opening, that is a feature of dicots. Rose, A. F, vascular bundles in the stem without cambium, it is a feature of monocots, right? Monocots. බලමු. Yes, grass, G grass. Dikaryotic mycelium is the dominant stage of the life cycle. Agaricus. B agaricus. Ascospores produced within asci. Aspergillus, H. Organism which belong to the phylum which have no terrestrial animals. Echinodermata, phylum Echinodermata. How the sand dollar, C. Then first appearance of little complex nervous and sensory system, planaria, L. Coelom is present for the first time and first animals to show cephalization, annelids, ragworm, I. Last, multicellular thallus supported by gas-filled bulb-shaped floats, sargassum. K, sargassum. Next one. Part C, question 1 to 3 is based on the following diagram. So what is A? Hydra. B, Taenia. C, Kauda. Roundworm. These figures are given in your resource book. D, tusk shell. Right? E is a spider and F is a sea cucumber. Echinodermate. Identify the organism in A to F and write their phylum. Name phylum. So A, Hydra belongs to phylum Nidaria. Nidaria, no marks. Nidaria. Okay. B, Taenia, phylum Platyhelminthes. Platyhelminthes. C. Nematoda. D. Mollusca. E. Arthropoda. F. Echinodermata. Okay. Roman number 2, write 3 characteristic features. There are 6 marks, 1 for each correct answer. And for the previous one, there are 12. There are 12 questions. So half mark for each one, altogether 6. Right? Then Roman number 2, write 3 characteristic features of kingdom. Above organisms are included. So those organisms belong to kingdom Animalia. Right? So features multicellular. Then heterotrophic eukaryotes. Cells of the animals are organized into tissues. Then most of, okay. Roman number 2 answers multicellular, heterotrophic eukaryotes. Cells of the animals are organized into tissues. Then most of them reproduce sexually. Next one, some show radial symmetry and some others show bilateral symmetry. Some show radial symmetry and some others show bilateral symmetry. So out of those 5, you have to mention only 3 characteristic features, right? 1 for each correct answer, altogether 3 marks. Then Roman number 3, write the letter of suitable animal. Again, letter, right? From the diagram for given features. Body is divided into 3 parts, muscular foot, visceral mass, mantle. Mollusk lagene. Mollusk na D. Book lungs has respiratory structures in spiders. E. Have a simple gastrovascular cavity with a single opening. Cnidarians. A. 1 for each correct answer. Then Roman number 4, part A. What is water vascular system? Right? කොහෙද මේ water vascular system එකක් තිබ්බේ? ඒක තියෙන්නේ echinodermate ළඟේ. A network by hydraulic canals branching into tube feeds. A network by hydraulic canals branching into tube feed is the water vascular system. 1 mark. Function. Right? Functioning in locomotion and feeding. Functioning in locomotion and feeding. Okay? Okay? හරිද? 2 marks. Right? Shall we move to next one? හරි නේද? Shall we move to next one? Third question. Okay. Part A Roman number 1. Right? දැන් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ unit 4 එකෙන් අහන්නේ මම. What is meristem? Undifferentiated tissues consisting of cells that constantly divide under suitable conditions to produce new cells. Undifferentiated tissues consisting of cells that constantly divide under suitable conditions and produce new cells. 3 marks. එතන undifferentiated tissues then consist of cells that constantly divide under suitable conditions and produce new cells. So, no වචන 4 important, right? 3 marks. Then state 2 functional characteristics of meristem. Functional. Then in the resource book, they have given us features of meristem. It includes both structural and functional. Now, in this question, I am asking about the functional characteristics of meristem. In 2019 A-level paper, there was a question, right? Like this. There they have asked about the structural characteristics. Structural. Now here I ask about functional. First one, living cells. Functionally undifferentiated cells have ability to multiply. Living cells, functionally undifferentiated, have ability to multiply. 2 marks. Then write 2 differences between shoot apex and root apex. The first diagram, what is it? Is it root apex or shoot apex? Shoot or root? First diagram, it shows the shoot apex, right? You should be able to draw this kind of diagram and you should be able to label all these parts, right? Next week, get ready for that kind of question. Include karana. No. Next week, there will be a MCQ paper. Second one, it is the root. Yes. So first one, එක මොකද දැන් මේ සුඩින්ම තියෙනවා young leaf. ඔය දෙපැත්තෙන් තියෙන young leaf. Then leaf primordia. Then here, no. Here, shoot apical meristem, right? Then developing vascular strands, right? Then auxiliary bud. Okay, right. Now, when we take the shoot apex, the apical meristem, it is dome-shaped, right? This is located at the tip of the shoot. Now, the second diagram, it shows the root meristem, right? You can see root hairs, then root cap, okay? Then root apex, then you can see epidermis, then cortex, right? Now, we have to compare. Normally, first one, shoot apex, it is located. Let's take the location. Shoot apex, it is located at the tip of the shoot. While root apex found at the tip of the root. Then, shoot apex, shoot apical meristem, it is protected by leaf primordia. And root apical meristem is protected by root cap. මේ යටට තොප්පිය වගේ තියෙන එකෙන් තමයි ආව protect කරන්නේ. ඊළඟට this shoot apex produce new cells only inwards. ඇතුළට පහළට විතරයි මේ. මෙන්න මේ පැත්තට විතරයි. And root apex, it produce new cells both inwards as well as outwards. Then we'll take the shape. Root apical meristem, root take a thimble shape. And shoot, it is dome shape. Okay? Those are the differences. So here they ask only 2 differences. For correct comparison, you'll get 4 marks. Then write 2 types of specialized cells found in epidermis. Epidermis එකේ තියෙනවා guard cells, trichomes, root hairs, right? 2 marks. Part B, give a function of each cell that you mention in 4A. Guard cells help in gaseous exchange. Then trichomes reduce water loss. Shiny hairs reflect excess light. Then secrete chemicals involved in defense against insects or pathogens or herbivores. Right? Root hairs involve in absorption of water and mineral ions. 2 marks. Roman number 5, write 3 characteristics of sclerenchyma. Secondary cell walls are produced after cell elongation. Next one, Secondary cell walls are thickened by large amount of lignin. Next one, dead cells at maturity. Dead cells at maturity. 6 marks, right? 6 marks. Next one, Roman number 6. Give the function of collenchyma. Give mechanical support to leaf and stems without restraining growth. Give mechanical support to leaves and stems without restraining growth. Okay? Right. Next one. Part B. Aragada 2 marks. Now we have life cycle of terrestrial plant. Here what is A? A should be gametophyte. Right? Gametophyte. Then B should be sporophyte. 2 marks. Name a plant where A is independent and dominant, Pogonata. You have to underline that because it is a scientific name. P capital, Pogonatum, and you have to underline that. Pogonata. Then name a plant where A is monoecious. Monoecious means bisexual. Gametophyte bisexual and dependent කවුද? අර heart shaped thallus one. කාගාව තිබ්බේ? Nephrolepis. Nephrolopis, Nephrolepis, and you have to underline that 1 mark. If you haven't underlined, no marks. Then, next one. Roman number 2, indicate the stage of meiosis with eggs in the above life cycle. You have to mention it here. Now, gametophyte, it produces gametes by mitosis. So, these gametes are haploid, Na, right? Then they get fused and produce 2N zygote. It is diploid. And zygote develop into embryo. That is also 2A, right? So, sporophyte also 2A. හරිද? මේ දැන් තියෙන්නේ diploid sporophytic generation. Then sporophyte produce spores by meiosis. Meiosis is a reduction division. So spores are N. Right? එතන එහෙනම් මෙන්න මෙතන තමයි x කියලා mark වෙන්න ඕනි. Right? In between B and spores. Right? Sporophyte produce spores by meiosis. By meiosis. Right. A is monoecious and dependent. Nephrolopis yes, sorry. Nephrolopis, it is independent. It is given in the book, right? It is given in the book. In Nephrolopis, both sporophyte and gametophyte are independent and photosynthetic. And when we go to Selachinella, their gametophyte is reduced and it is partially dependent on the sporophyte. So here we have to take Caecus, right? Yeah, dependent යහන්නේ. එහෙනම් උත්තරේ Caecus. We have to take Caecus. A is monoecious. Sporophyte is dioecious. No, Shavinda, we'll keep that. We'll keep that. And Mamega Balananga Ipara. And we'll move to next one. Mega Tiana Potta. Anyway, don't take nephrolipis for C because it is not dependent, right? Both in nephrolipis, both the sporophyte and gametophyte, those are independent. It is given because gametophyte is photosynthetic. So we can't take nephrolipis for the C. For the first one, it is Pogonata. Then Roman number 3, they have given some names. A list of important characteristics of above plants are given below. Select the plant or plants that show the characteristic. Megaspores released to the external environment, Selaginella. Presence of fiddlehead, Nephrolopis and Caecus. Right? මම හිතන්නේ Caecus වල fiddleheads ඒවා කනව නේද? මම හිතන්නේ ඒවා කනවා. Right? ඊට පස්සේ seed surrounded by fruit, cocos nusifera, coconut වලට කියන්නේ. Right? Then xylem tissue without a vessel, Selaginella nephrolepis. Like seedless vascular plants. Selaginella nephrolepis. දෙකම තියෙන්න ඕනි. 2 marks. Pogonata is the answer for the last one. Spores produced inside capsule, Pogonatum. You have to underline these scientific names. So here there are 5. Yes, altogether 12 marks. 2 for each correct answer. Then give 2 features those found in Selaginella, not in Nephrolipis. Selaginella, it is heterosporous, right? And it have a strobili. 2 marks. Okay? For part C, you will get free marks. මෙතන free marks දෙනවා. මෙතනට දාගන්න ලකුණු. Yeah, ඒක ලකුණු ඕනේ නැහැ. ඒක කපලා දාන්න. 41 එනවා එකතු කරාම. Right? Question number 4, part A, Roman number 1. Write specific characteristics of human respiratory surface. It should be moist and permeable to gases. First one. It must be thin surface or membrane. It should possess large surface area. It should possess a good blood supply. 2 marks. Roman number 2, name the types of cells of human respiratory surface. Simple squamous epithelium, macrophages, surfactant cells. Right? Simple squamous epithelium, macrophages, surfactant cells. Instead of surfactant, you can include septal cells. Septal cells because septal cells, they release this surfactant fluid. 3 marks. Mention 2 types of muscles that contribute for ventilation of lungs. Neck muscles. Back or chest muscles. Neck muscles. Back or chest muscles. Then types of muscles contribute. එහෙම නැත්නම් rib muscles, intercostal muscles, diaphragm. අර දෙක ගන්න අමතර වෙන්නේ additionally නේ. neck muscles ඒවා ඉන්නේ. මෙතන ඇහුවාම එහෙනම් ලියන්න ඕගොල්ලෝ rib muscles or intercostal muscles and diaphragm. Right? Neck muscles, back and chest muscles, they are additional muscles that aid in ventilation. Okay? So you have to include, you have to write here rib muscles or intercostal muscles and the diaphragm. Diaphragm, it is a sheet of skeletal muscles. 2 marks. Name 2 component. Sorry. Sorry, name. ප්‍රශ්න දෙක පටලෝගෙන. Roman number 3 mentioned 2 types of muscles that contribute for ventilation of lungs. ඒකට අර දෙක. Then name 2 types of additional muscles, neck muscles and chest. එහෙම නැත්නම් back. Roman number 5, name 2 components of cigarette smoke. Nicotine, hydrogen cyanide, right? Carbon monoxide. ඔය තුනෙන් දෙකක් ලිව්වොත් ලකුණු දෙකයි. Name the respiratory disorder which leads pulmonary hypertension and heart attack. Silicosis. Silicosis. 1 mark. Part B, Roman number 1. Write 3 components of a nucleotide. Pentose sugar, nitrogenous base, phosphate group. Name 2 types of pentose sugar consists of a nucleotide. Deoxyribose, ribose. 2 marks. Nucleic acids are formed by collection of several millions of nucleotides. Explain the condensation reaction of the above function. කොහොමද? Condensation between the OH group of phosphate of one nucleotide with hydrogen attached to third carbon of pentose sugar of the other nucleotide to form phosphodiester bond. 3 marks. Okay? Write the difference between RNA and DNA. DNA double-stranded, RNA single-stranded. DNA contain adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine, but no uracil. RNA contain adenine, uracil, cytosine, guanine, but no thymine. DNA contain deoxyribose pentose sugar. RNA contain ribose pentose sugar. 4 marks. Then part C, Roman number 1, name the era or eon that relevant to the following incidences in the evolution. Right? මට කියන්න මේවා eons ටිකේ තියෙන features පාඩම් කරන්න දීලා තියෙනව නේද? ආශාවින්ද? ඒවා පාඩම් කරන්න කියලා තියෙනව නේද? මොකද මම පාඩම් කරා. නෑ, ඒවත් එපා කියලාද? විදුෂිනි features පාඩම් කරන්න එපා කියලාද මේ තිබ්බ වෙච්ච incidents given as extra knowledge. I'll check in the book. I have to check that. Anyway, do they have mentioned names? Only the names. Okay. I included this question because I studied those things. Others are mentioned. Some extra knowledge. Right. Anyway, part A, corn-bearing plants dominated Mesozoic era. First seed plants appeared Paleozoic era. Flowering plants appeared again Mesozoic era. Diversification of early vascular plants Paleozoic era. Amphibians dominated Paleozoic. Marine algae become abundant, Paleozoic. Concentration of atmospheric oxygen begins to increase, Archean eon. Diverse algae and soft-bodied invertebrate animals appeared, Proterozoic eon. Origin of mammals, Mesozoic era. Colonization of land by diverse fungi, plants and animals, Paleozoic era. Okay, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5 marks. What are the main parts of a conducting system of heart? Sinoatrial node or SA node. AV node, right? Atrioventricular node. Then atrioventricular bundle or bundle of His, bundle branches and Purkinje fibers. ඒ ඔක්කොම include වෙන්න ඕනි තුන්වෙනි එකට. 3 marks. Name the place of heart where the above parts are located in the myocardium. Myocardium එක myometrium එකත් එක්ක පැටලව ගන්න එපා. හරිද? Myocardium is present in the heart and myometrium is in the female reproductive system. Okay. Name 2 hormones affect for the rate of heartbeat, adrenaline and thyroxine. Adrenaline and thyroxine. 2 marks. Okay, now let me know how many marks you got for the structured essay. Yes. Quickly. Okay, condensation reaction. Your answer should be like this. Condensation between the OH group of the phosphate of one nucleotide, right? Next point, with hydrogen attached to third carbon of pentose sugar of the other nucleotide. Next point, to form phosphate diester bond. හරිද? හයිඩ්‍රජන් එක දාලා නැහැ. තිබ්බනේ. කොහොම ඉන්න බලන්න. OH. Millions of nucleotides joined by phosphodiester bond. මොකන්ද මං කිව්වේ? OH attached to the third carbon of pentose sugar. මෙන්න මෙතන. Not hydrogen, මෙතන. Right, maybe. Condensation between OH group of the phosphate of one nucleotide and the OH, right? Not hydrogen, OH attached to the third carbon of pentose sugar of the other. Right? එතනින් hydrogen එක ගලවලා ගන්නවා එයා. OH එකෙන් hydrogen එක ගලව ගන්න. Yes, both are OH, right? හරි එයා OH එකම ගලවලා අරගන්නේ නැහනේ. එකකින් හයිඩ්‍රජන් එකක් විතරයි ගන්නෙ. එහෙම අරගෙන තමයි H2 එක අයින් කරන්නේ. මම ඒකයි mean කරේ. Right? Vidushini, very good. Very good. First one, 70. Let me go through the paper again. Why you got 70? කොහෙද ලකුණු අඩු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? So out of 4 questions, you have got lowest mark for the first question. At home, what you have to do is today, right? Go through those parts, right? You can read cell junctions, enzymes, the whole thing, and you can study photosynthesis lesson because you have lost mark from those parts, okay? And for biological molecules. That is the way how you have to improve biomarks. Yes. Vinod and Shaminda, කොහොමද ලකුණු? Okay, Vidushini. Others? Just fine. Send me. Shaminda, you can send it as a direct message. Send your marks. And Mokshi, what about you? Any doubts? Quickly. Vinod? Okay. Vinod? What about you? Marks? Okay. Shaminda and Vinod have to send marks, okay? Even like after the class, so right. Shavinda, after the class, you have to take some photos of marked paper, what you have marked, and send me, right? නැත්නම් මම check කරන්නම් ඔයාගේ paper එක මං ගන්න තියෙනවා. ලකුණු එවන්න මට අපේ අරක සම්පූර්ණයෙන් mark කරා මේකේම නෙමෙයි. Send me the marks. How much you got out of 100? Shavinda. Yeah, I know. I want to know your marks. ඔය දැන් mark කරපු එකේ ලකුණු කීයද කියලා බලන්න ඕනේ. Okay. We'll start essay discussion. Right. Question number 5. Explain the energy relationships of metabolic processes in living being. මොකක්ද ඒ කියන්නේ? Here they are asking about metabolism, catabolism, anabolism, right? Then ATP, those things. ඔන්න ඒ ටික තමයි අහන්නේ. හරිද? මේ වගේ question එකක් ඇවිල්ලාම නැහැ. ඒ හින්දා ඒක අපි පොඩ්ඩක් highlight කරලා බලමු. First point, sum of all biochemical reaction of living being is known as metabolism. Number 2, it consists of 2 as catabolic, 3 and anabolic reaction. 4. In catabolism, breakdown of complex molecules into simplex molecules by releasing free energy. Number 5, it is an exergonic reaction. Number 6, in anabolism, make complex molecules from the simplest molecule by absorbing free energy. 7, it is an endergonic reaction. 8, reaction that caused by the absorption of energy released by catabolic reaction in living system are called anabolic reactions. 9. ATP act as the energy carrier in living organisms, including the simplest bacteria. Or ATP is the universal currency of energy transactions. 10. Energy can be defined as the capacity to do work. 11. Living organisms require energy for their living processes. 12. Synthesis of substances. Next point. Active transport across plasma membrane. Next point. Transmission of nerve impulses. Next point. Muscle contraction or beating of cilia and flagella or bioluminescence or electrical discharge. Then, the energy relationship of living system on biosphere is composed of 16 point. Energy flows into biological system from environment through solar radiation. Next point. Light is captured in the cells having photosynthetic pigments by the process of photosynthesis and stored as chemical energy in the organic compounds like carbohydrates. Next point. Captured energy in organic food is transformed into chemical energy in ATP by a process of cellular respiration. Next one. The energy stored in ATP is utilized in various energy requiring processes. Next point. Hydrolysis of ATP produce ADP and phosphate ions. Next point. As a result, a very high energy is released. Next point. Because the reactant or ATP contain more energy in comparison to products. Next point. Therefore, it releases energy and is an exergonic reaction. Next point. The free energy released of each of the two end phosphate group is minus 30.5 kilojoule per mole when ATP is hydrolyzed. Next point. Most biological reactions use energy released during breaking down of terminal phosphate bond. Next point. ATP is mobile. Next point. It can carry anywhere in the cell for any energy consuming reaction. Next. ATP can be produced within the living cells within the short period of time using ADP, phosphate, and energy. Next point. Production of ATP within cell is phosphorylation. Next. According to the energy source, phosphorylation is divided as 3 groups. Next. Photophosphorylation. Synthesis of ATP using solar energy in photosynthesis. 32nd point. Substrate phosphorylation. Synthesis of ATP using energy released by breaking down of complex molecules into simple molecule. Next point. Oxidative phosphorylation. Synthesis of ATP using energy released as a result of oxidation of molecules. Next point. In living cells, energy in ATP is transformed into various energy forms which are used for different functions. Next point. Electricity using conveying electrical impulses. Next one, mechanical energy used in muscle contraction. Next one, chemical energy used in synthesis of various compounds. Next one, heat energy used in maintaining body temperature. Next one, light energy used in bioluminescence. Right, altogether there are 39. Any 38 points into 4. 30ට වැඩි කිරීම 4 කියන්නේ කීයද? 2යි yes 152 වෙනවා 150ක් ගන්න. 38 into 4. 38 into 4. There are 38 points altogether. Shall we move to next one? Shall we move to next essay question? Right. Question number 6. Part A. Describe the cross structure of the human small intestine and explain the process of protein digestion in the small intestine. Part B. Describe the regulation of digestion in man. Okay. Part A. Part A. First point, ලියා ගන්න මේවා. Longest organ in the alimentary canal. Second one, divide into 3 regions. Next one, duodenum. Fourth point, jejunum. Fifth, ileum. Sixth, duodenum is C-shaped curve. Next, locate around the head of the pancreas. Next, jejunum is the middle part. Next, ileum is the terminal part. 10. Inner surface of the small intestine possess permanent circular folds. Next, folds contain villi, right? Next, greatly increase the surface area by these folds and villi. Next, epithelial cells that cover the villi possess microvilli. Next, villi have good blood supply. Right? Now we are going to explain about the protein digestion. Now, protein digestion starting where? In the stomach. But here they are asking about the protein digestion that takes place in the small intestine. So, 15 point, acidic chyme that enter to the duodenum is neutralized by bicarbonate in the pancreatic juice. Next point, small polypeptide in the chyme are converted into smaller polypeptide within the duodenum. Next point, it is stimulated by trypsin and chymotrypsin in the pancreatic juice. Next point, smaller polypeptide convert into small peptide within the duodenum. Next, it is stimulated by carboxypeptidases in the pancreatic juice. Next, small peptides convert into amino acids. Next, it is stimulated by dipeptidases or carboxypeptidases and aminopeptidases. Next, last point, that's secreted by the intestinal epithelium. හරිද? අනිත් එක exam A level exam එකේදී හරිද? ඔයගලන්ට paper එක දෙන්න කලින් කොළ බෙදලා දෙනවා. Right? 5 minutes විතර ඔයගොල්ලෝ වාඩිලා ඉඳදී කොළ දෙනවා. ඒකෙදී ගිය ගම කොළ දුන්නු ගම you can write down these digestion reactions. Right? Then it is easy for you to answer for MCQs, then structured, or if there is an essay question, it will be really helpful. Okay? Right. Part B, describe the regulation of digestion in man. Now here, we have, like regulation, this is done. There are 2 types, nervous regulation and endocrine or hormonal regulation. Right? Yes. Yeah. So, nervous regulation, it is by nervous reflexes, right? Now, release of saliva when food reach the mouth, it is a nervous regulation. Then when we come to endocrine regulation, we have this secretin, cholecystokine, and gastrin, right? No need, Vidushini, no need, okay? It's no need. Onine. Kind of complicated. Vila, it's complicated, right? No need. But if they ask the cross structure of the stomach, then pancreas, please include the drawings. Hari. Yes. Part B, first point, regulate by two ways. Second point, nervous regulation. Third, endocrine regulation. Next point, nervous regulation mainly by nervous reflexes. Fifth, example, nervous regulation stimulate the release of saliva when food reach the mouth. Next, endocrine system plays a critical role in digestion in the stomach and small intestine. Next, when food arrives the stomach, its wall is stretched. Next, triggers to release hormone gastrin. Right, Betty? Spotlight. Here, can you see? Gastrin, right? Then, gastrin stimulate the production of gastric juice in the stomach. Next point. Stimulate the peristalsis of stomach. Then, next point. Chyme enter into the duodenum. Next point. Secretin. And next point. CCK secrete from the duodenum. Right? CCK and secretin secrete from the duodenum. Next point. CCK triggers release of bile from the pancreas. Next point. Bile from the gallbladder. Right? CCK, CCK triggers release of bile from gallbladder. And digestive enzymes from pancreas. Pancreatic juice. And secretin stimulate the release of bicarbonate from the pancreas. Next point. When the chyme is rich in fat, next point, increase the level of secretin and CCK. Next point, therefore, inhibit the peristalsis. And next point, gastric juice secretion from the stomach. Next point, slows down the digestion of food in the stomach. Right? මොකද්ද මෙතන උනේ? ආයි කියලා දුන්නොත් මෙතන පෙන්නන්නේ endocrine digestion, endocrine regulation, right? So when food enter into the stomach, what happened? You know, stomach wall, it is elastic, right? It gets stretched. As a result, it triggers the release of gastrin hormone. This gastrin hormone, it stimulates the production of gastric juice and stimulate the peristalsis of the stomach. As a result of the food or the chyme, it entered the duodenum, right? In the duodenum, then secretin and CCK secrete from the duodenum. CCK secrete from the duodenum, go and acts on the gallbladder and trigger the release of bile. And meanwhile, it go and act on the pancreas and stimulate the release of pancreatic juice into the duodenum. And secretin stimulate release of bicarbonate. And if the chyme is rich in fat, the secretin and CCK level increases and they act on the stomach and inhibit the peristalsis and gastric juice secretion, and slow down the digestion in the stomach. Okay, so here there are 20 points in the A part and any 18 points from the B part, altogether 38 into 4. Harida. Shall we move to next one? Part 7. Harida. Question number 7. Shall we move to the next question? Ramai. No, we not. No. You don't have to include glucagon and insulin here. Right? We have to mention about glucagon and insulin under blood glucose regulation. Now here they are asking about the digestion. Glucagon, insulin, they are involved in blood glucose level regulation. Okay, Vinod? Insulin and glucagon, they are not involved in digestion. හරිද? ඒගොල්ලන් digestion වලට සම්බන්ධයක් නැහැ. ඒගොල්ලෝ කරන්නේ අපේ තියෙන සීනි මට්ටම blood glucose level එක regulate කරන එක විතරයි. හරි? Right. Question number 7. Describe the gross structure of human kidney. Now here you have to include a diagram and then describe the process of urine formation. Let's see. Right, I took this image from Google, right? Book එකේ තියෙන එක ඇඳහම ඇති මේ වගේ වඳින්න ඕනේ නැහැ. හරිද? Okay. So first point, kidney, it is a bean-shaped organ. Next point, surrounded by fibrous connective tissue. Consists of 2 kidneys. Next point, in the longitudinal section of the kidney, 3 tissue areas of the tissues can be seen to the naked eye. Now, why we have to mention 2 kidneys? Right? It is obvious. We all know that there are 2 kidneys. But they have given a 1 point for that one. Right? In 2009 or 2010, there was a short note on red blood cells. Right? They have allocated 1 mark for writing that red blood cells are red in color. Red blood cells රතු පාටයි කියලා ලියනවාට එක ලකුණක් දීලා තිබ්බා. හරි? එහෙනම් මෙතන අනිවාර්යෙන් කිඩ්නිස් දෙකක් තියෙනවා කියලා එකත් ලියන්න. Right. 4th point, in the longitudinal section of the kidney, 3 tissue areas can be seen to the naked eye. 5th point, outmost layer is fibrous capsule or renal capsule. Next point, inner to the capsule, renal cortex is located. Next point, inner to the cortex, renal medulla is located. Next point, medulla is composed of renal pyramids. Next, pyramids take a striated appearance. Next, apices of pyramids project into renal pelvis through renal papillae. Next, cortex and medulla are supplied with blood vessels and tightly packed with excretory tubules. 12th point, renal cortex is granulated due to the presence of glomeruli. Next point, cortex and medulla are supplied with blood vessels and are tightly packed with excretory tubules. right? There are 13 points. Next one, describe the process of urine formation, right? Yes, this is the structure of nephron. You don't have to include the diagram here because here they are asking the urine formation, the process, not the structure of nephron. I'll make a pen for you. Then it is easy for you to understand. Let's see. There are three processes. First point. There are three processes involved in urine formation. Second one, ultrafiltration. Third, selective reabsorption. Fourth point, secretion. Fifth, filtration of blood under high pressure into the cavity of Bowman's capsule is called ultrafiltration. Next, filtrate in Bowman's capsule is called glomerular filtrate. Next, blood cells, platelets, plasma proteins do not contain in the filtrate. Eighth one, filtrate in the Bowman's capsule contain water. Next, salts. Next point, amino acids, glucose, vitamins. Next point, nitrogenous waste. Next point, in selective reabsorption, useful molecules, ions, and water from the glomerular filtrate are returned to interstitial fluid. 13 point, then absorb into capillary network of the tubule. 14, when glomerulus filtrate pass through PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, right? PCT, DCT කියලා ලියන්න එපා. සම්පූර්ණ වචනේ ලියන්න. 15 point, glucose, amino acids are actively transported. Sodium plus is actively transport. K plus bicarbonate, chloride passively transport. Next point. H2O is reabsorbed passively by osmosis. Next point. In descending limb of loop of Henle, water reabsorbed passively through osmosis. Next point. In ascending limb of loop of Henle, next point, most of the sodium plus is transported by active transport. Next point, considerable amount of sodium chlorine reabsorption occur. Next point, no water reabsorption takes place and filtrate become more diluted. 24th point, in distal convoluted tubule, next point, sodium plus actively transport and bicarbonate passively transport. 26th point, water reabsorption occur passively with the presence of ADH, right? Antidiuretic hormone. There you can write write it as ADH, okay? In short form. Abbreviations. 27, in collecting duct, water reabsorption occur presence of ADH. 28, sodium plus reabsorbed actively. 29, the process by which foreign materials and substances not required to body are cleared from peritubular capillaries and interstitial fluid into the filtrate is secretion. 30th, in proximal convoluted tubule, H plus is secreted actively. Next point, ammonia passively secreted. Next point, in distal convoluted tubule, K plus and H plus actively secreted. Last point, at the end, filtrate pass along the collecting duct, become concentrated and form urine. Okay? හරිද? Okay. Right. එතන for part A, 10 points, any 10 points into 440 plus fully labeled diagram 20 marks. Altogether 50. 60. Correct? And for the part B, any 30 points into 3, 90 marks. 90 plus 60, 150. Right. So, next one, part 8, question number 8. Write short notes on A. Properties of water due to hydrogen bonds. Number 1. Attraction between water molecules due to hydrogen bonding, second point, is called cohesion. Number 3. Attraction between water molecules and other substances, 4, are known as adhesion. Fifth point, both of these properties, water act as a transport medium. Next point, due to cohesion between water molecules, water and dissolved substances. Next point, transport through xylem, and eighth point, phloem against gravity. Ninth one, adhesion between water molecules and cell wall also helping conduction of water and dissolved substances. Next point, water has high surface tension. Next point, this ability is given to water molecule due to cohesion between water molecules. 12th, therefore in an aquatic system, upper surface water molecules are attracted by lower surface molecules and form a water film. 13. Water molecules surrounded each of the solute molecules and form hydrogen bonds with them. 14. Therefore, water acts as a solvent. Right? Now, දැන් මම මෙතන ඔය points ටික විතරයි ගත්තේ. But if you get any මෙතන short note නේ. හරිද? මම marks දුන්නේ ඔය ටිකට. හැබැයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ලියද්දි නිකන් exam එකේ හැම වෙනම මොක හරි ලියද්දි you have to include everything. You have to mention about ability expansion upon freezing, ability to moderate temperature. You have to include those things also. Right? Then part B, cold stress. First one, when cell membrane cools below critical temperature, it loses its fluidity. Second, due to lipids become locked into crystalline structure. Next, it blocks the transport across the membrane and affect the function of the cell. Next, plants respond to cold stress by increasing the proportion of unsaturated fatty acids. Next, which keeps the membrane more fluid at low temperature. Sixth point, freezing is another cold stress. Next point, before the onset of winter, the cell of frost-tolerant plants. Eighth point, increase cytoplasmic levels of specific solutes such as sugars. Next point, that help to reduce the loss of water from the cell. Next, preventing dehydration. Next one, allergies. First one, some persons are overly reactive to substances, and antigens that induce hypersensitive reaction in some persons are called allergens. Next point, Exaggerated responses of the body to certain antigens are called allergies. Third point, common allergens include pollen, dust. Fourth point, some food, right? Or some antibiotics. Fifth one, venom from honeybees and wasps. Sixth point, whenever an allergic reaction takes place, the tissue injury occurs. Next point, the most allergens stimulate production of plasma cells. Next, which secrete antibodies specific for the antigen. Next, when the same allergen enter the body later, it become attached to the antibody specific to the allergen. Next, which induce the mast cells to release histamine and other inflammatory chemicals. Next point, acting on a variety of cell types, these signals bring about typical allergy symptoms. 12th point, such as sneezing, next runny noise, next teary eyes, or breathing difficulties. 15, an actual allergic condition sometimes led to death of the person within few seconds of exposure to an allergen. So altogether there are 15 points. 15 here, 10, 25. 40 into 2.5. Right, 40 into 2.5, 100. So 2.15 for each point. 100, sorry. Sorry. Forty into 4 කියලා ගන්නකො. 40 into 4. මෙතන 40 ම නැහැ. මෙතන 34 වගේ 34 39 වගේ තියෙනවා. Right? Maximum 150 MB.